Brilliant, brilliant. Perfect. Okay. All right, so how are you all doing? I want to talk to you about different breathing exercises, giving you a bit of a background on what kind of breathing we need to do these days, and a little bit about myself as well, if you're new to me. So my name is Maria Leonard, and I go by the title of spiritual coach, rebirthing breathwork facilitator. I have my own modality called life scripting, which is a holistic healing and manifestation technique. So I'm very much passionate about breathwork because as much as I love energy work, I am a big believer that the breath can completely transform our mindset. It can transform our body. However, it's important to also know what kind of breathing practices we need to do and why are we doing them. So I've been practicing breath work for 8 years now. I have studied rebirthing breath work, which I'll talk to you about in a little bit. And I've also studied pranayama in yogic practices. So I think you've all heard that pranayama is one of the ancient techniques of mastering the breath. So these days, many people are fearful about the concept of the pandemic that is going on. So they're not sure of what kind of breathing they need to do. Is it really necessary? Does it really help us to fight the virus or keep us healthy? I just want to start off by saying that we don't have any medical proof, but I do believe that there is something that we all have within us, which is called intuitive knowledge. So yes, we can use our left brain to do a lot of research, to understand things from a medical point of view through numerous researches, but it is also to follow your own body, what your body is saying, and to understand your mindset. So when you understand these two, you are developing your intuitive knowledge. Now, there are certain breathing exercises and breathing modalities that have been proven to reduce inflammation, that have been proven to relax the mind, that have been proven to also be antiviral. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the beginning. And then I'm going to show you some of the techniques that you can start by doing now and which one is used for what. And I'm happy to answer questions later on. So I'm going to talk about something called, excuse me for 1 second, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what is being developed when we do nasal breathing. Nasal breathing, which means inhaling and exhaling through the nose and not using the mouth as our respiratory element. So these days, I would highly recommend that you focus on any breathing practice that you're doing only through the nose. The reason for that is, logically speaking, the nose has been created for breathing and not the mouth. However, many people have blockages in their noses regarding sinuses or whatever reason, any kind of bone deformation, or also by just having very much of a shallow breathing practice. So when we end up developing our connection, our conscious connection with nasal breathing, we end up increasing nitric oxide within our lungs, which is what scientists are considering to be antiviral, and are also mentioning that it creates an anti-inflammatory element for the lungs. So at the moment, there is being, I'm just looking at some of the notes because these are technical terms, so I don't want to give any misinformation. So at the moment at a University of Alabama at Birmingham, they are doing a research on inhaled nitric oxide for severely damaged lungs. So they have started the research. They've done this on SARS patients back in 2007, 6, whenever it started. And they discovered that by inhaling nitric oxide, again, through the nose, it has helped with lung damage. And now they are trying to do that by helping this gas to flow through the nose with severely damaged lung patients in order to see if it will have the same effect of any kind of antiviral impact. So what does nitric oxide do? It boosts the oxygen flow in the body, and it helps to reduce the amount of the right side of the heart, which is very much under extreme stress when someone is having difficulty of breathing. So giving you some technical terms here, if you want to research. And I would like to quote from one of the doctors from this, or professors, sorry, from this university, where he says, in humans, nitric oxide is generated within the blood vessels and regulates blood pressure and prevents formulation of clots and also destroys potential toxins. So if this is what the medical team is agreeing on, many people, thousands of years, have had intuitive knowledge by discovering and realizing that doing certain breathing exercises is helping us to feel healthier. So one of the things I would like to mention for today, for us to practice, is a Prati Loma breathing technique. Prati Loma breathing technique is to do with IMT. IMT is inspiratory muscle training. So we want to strengthen the muscles, the diaphragm, to help us have more tolerance of CO2 and also to help us have the ability to inhale deeper, because we're so used to breathing unconsciously, number one, and at the same time to have a lot of shallow breathing based on how we're sitting, based on our mood. So you would notice that people who are feeling depressed or anxious or fearful, they have very shallow breathing. And which comes with the idea that the breath and the mind are always connected. There is no separation between the mind and the breath. So if you're working through a technique which changes your mindset, then as a result, it should lead you to a different breathing mechanism. If you are working with the breathing technique, then it definitely, if you notice I'm saying definitely with the breath, will change your mindset, because it is more physiological and it's also psychological at the same time. So the Prati Loma breathing technique that we're going to practice today is something that you're going to have your hand, wash your hands before you start, and holding the nostrils very gently, like giving a little bit of pressure on both of the nostrils, okay? And by giving slight pressure, you are obviously closing the nostrils, right? And taking a deep inhale through the nose, mouths are closed, our mouth is closed, so. And exaggerating the inhale from the chest area. So when you've done this, so I'm going to demonstrate. The exhale without any pressure on the nose. So what you've done here, you've given yourself the opportunity to be conscious of your breath, to allow that pressure, which creates a form of resistance, to push you to do more of a deeper inhale. Now, what you will notice is, with many people, when they do deep inhalation, the shoulders have the tendency to go up because they're stressing their body to have that kind of breathing. We don't want to be stressed, okay? Our aim is to be relaxed. Any breathing technique that you're doing, if you're not relaxed, you're missing the point. So be aware of your shoulders. When I first started doing these practices, I was going like this, and my whole facial expression was becoming very tense. And I realized that this is becoming more of a torture than something pleasurable or beneficial. So please be aware of your facial expressions and be aware of your shoulders. So we're going to try and do 5 inhales, deep inhales, by having a slight pressure on the nostrils, and then releasing it to have the exhale from the nostrils. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Does anyone have any questions or comments by practicing this? So I can help you more in detail. So exaggerate the diaphragm area. So you cannot see me fully, but it's basically as if I'm expanding my chest up, not the belly area. So I can help with the increase and the muscle exercise of my diaphragm. So don't block it completely. Make sure that there is some passage for the airway to go. And either you're pressing it from the sides or you're allowing half of your fingers to be in front of your nostrils. And if you notice this is causing a little bit of that pressure, that you have to do your best to inhale. And the exhale is natural. Another thing I want you to mention is, do not force the exhale out. When you force the exhale out, you are forcing CO2 out of your system, and this causes discomfort in the body. We are not against CO2. CO2 is our friend, O2 is our friend, nitric oxide is our friend. None of them are more or less important in the body. However, we do need oxygen to go through the blood to help and repair the tissues and rejuvenate the tissues of our body. Okay, and that is why we're now going to move on to something called with breath retention, so that we can have more CO2 tolerance. Okay, so Delma, you have a question?
Yes, yes. Does the belly, I mean, do we follow the diaphragmatic breathing so the belly goes out, or should we just focus on the chest?
Just focus on the chest, because we want to make sure that the muscles around the lungs are being focused on with the diaphragm rather than the belly.
Okay, so we just let the belly be natural.
Yes, yes. Now in my case, when I'm doing that, so the belly is going in when I'm inhaling. Okay? So because my chest is expanding. So naturally that's what's going to happen to your body. So if I'm doing, it's like as if I'm pulling. What you can imagine is as if you're also pulling the air in. So if you're pulling, what happens, your body is going up. But remember with the shoulders, instead of going, okay, that causes tension, okay, to the neck area.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome. Anyone else has any questions? We're gonna practice it again, another 5 rounds. So again, 5 breaths. You will notice, and I'm curious to get your feedback on this, you will notice that the more you do it, your inhalation is becoming longer. You're being able to breathe deeper, okay? Again, reminding you about the exhale, to have it controlled. So not going, and then in that way, okay? Allowing it to have its own time to release, to empty as much as you can. All right, remember, it's practice. So the more you do it, the better it becomes. So let's start again, 5 rounds. 1, I'm going to use my fingers so you can see which round we're in. 1, 2, 3. Any difference? If you were hearing my breath, you notice from the third to fourth and fifth breath, my inhale was longer and much deeper. I don't know if you were able to notice that. Anyone has any comments? Anyone is feeling lightheaded, dizzy, uncomfortable? It's important to have your spine straight and remember your shoulders as well. You don't need to pause after the inhale and the exhale. Yeah, I'm just going it a bit too normal. Is it normal to feel chest? Of course, you're feeling chest pressure because your muscles of your lungs have started to expand. So this is a great sign showing that, oh, it was just like working very shallow and now it has started to expand itself. Feeling dizzy is fine, yes, because your body is not used to inhaling this much oxygen. So again, going back to shallow breathing, yeah? The level of blocking the nose, it just has to be something that, okay, in order for you to notice the difference, do the same without blocking the nose. So going and see how much you can do it. And then just add a little bit of a block. See, like starting from the tip if you want, like you've put a peg and just go. So you are putting in extra effort to inhale, okay? So as long as you can still inhale and there is a little bit of an effort put into it, then you are doing a more excessive amount of work to inhale and exhale. Feeling lightheaded, dizziness is very common when you have started doing a breathing practice because it's showing you, this is the common explanation, it's showing you that you have been doing a lot of shallow breathing. And your body just said, whoa, what just happened to me? I just had this rush of oxygen flow through me. So let me just balance. The CO2 is trying to balance itself in your brain, in your tissues. Your heartbeat is going to start to rhythm itself because now it's having more CO2 to waste out with the exhale. So that is why any breathing practice that you do, either you're sitting down or you're lying down. Not while you're walking, not while you're in the shower, not while you're driving, okay? Until you create a certain habit with it, okay? Any other questions? The name of this technique, it's called Prati Loma. So let me write it down for you, Prati Loma, okay? You can Google it. Just let me share it with everyone. Yeah. Great question, Muna. How often should we do this? So we have done 10 breaths for now. So throughout the day, I would suggest doing 20 breaths. So 5, break, 5, another break, 5, another break, 5. You can split these up throughout the day. You don't have to sit and do all 20 at once, because if you did that all at once, you are doing an extensive amount of breathing technique. And if you're not used to it, you'd be like, whoa, this is too much, or why am I so lightheaded? So give yourself those intervals. So 5, 5, 5, 5, 4 sessions throughout the day, okay? So this is one of the techniques that I want to talk about today. And again, reminding you that this is what athletes use in order to help with their muscle training, the muscle training of the diaphragm and the chest area, okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is breath retention. Breath retention is when we are holding on to the breath to a certain period of time between the inhale and the exhale and the next inhale. Now, at the end of this session, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite apps. I'll share you the link so you can go and have a look at them and have something that you can practice on daily, okay? So why is it important for us to have breath retention? Why do we need to practice that? Because when we are depleting ourselves from oxygen, okay, it starts to create a buildup of CO2 that triggers us to breathe. And that trigger and that buildup will then create a strong surge and flow of oxygen. It's kind of like a pump, yeah? So imagine you're your sink. Okay, if it's blocked with water, what do? You try to bring in a pump in order to open up the pipelines. So when you are doing breath retention, again, for a certain period of time and gradually increasing the breath retention period, which I'll talk about in a minute, then you are creating this strong surge of oxygen to flow through your tissues. Remember, it's not only enough for us to have a good level of oxygen in our bloodstream. It doesn't always necessarily mean that that oxygen in the bloodstream is being directed to the tissues. How and why, I don't know. That is for a medical doctor to explain it to you. But just so that if you tested yourself and discovered that, oh, I have, let's say 95 to 98% of oxygen in my bloodstream, then perfect, all my tissues are being repaired well. Well, then you look at yourself and you have certain inflammatory diseases. And this is showing you that there is some kind of a barrier, which I believe is that has to do with your oxygen and CO2 rate to help it push to your tissues. So breath retention can do that. This is one of the most common pranayama techniques that they do in yogic practices. And later on, where I'm going to be sharing a rebirthing technique, which is to create a conscious connected breathing mechanism to create that flow of energy and to help repair your tissues. All right, so the most common retention breathing exercise is the square exercise. So the square is 4 inhales, 4 breaths to hold, and 4 exhales, counting 4, I mean, and then 4 again to hold. So you have 4 inhale, 4 hold, 4 exhale, and 4 hold, and it creates a square. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice that right now. And what I'm going to be doing is I'll be guiding you verbally so that you can see how I'm helping you to stop at 4. All right? So you're basically, again, going to be breathing through the nose. So inhaling through the nose. So if you notice that I did 4 inhales, I stopped for 4 breaths, 4 exhales, and 4 count of stopping the exhale. Okay, holding the breath. So no need to use your hands, just focus on your inhale and close your eyes in order for you to be more aware of your own breath. Remember your shoulders again, not to go when you're holding the breath, to not strengthen, to not cause stress to your neck muscles. All right, so 1, 2, 3, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just relax. I think I got confused there. We're going to do it again. That's why I'm going to be sharing the app with you, because if we're going to sit and calculate the minutes or the seconds for it, it's going to cause a lot of stress in your mental state. So what I want you to do right now is to practice and see, forget the 4-4, just so that you can experiment and notice the difference. I want you to inhale as much as you can, deep inhale. Hold your breath. See how much can you hold your breath. And then exhale again, no counting involved, just to see how different it is. I'm going to be timing you for 2 minutes. Okay? So you go in your own rhythm of inhaling, holding in your own rhythm, exhaling in your own rhythm, and holding again in your own rhythm. And we're going to see how it's going to change the depth and the holding period for you throughout these 2 minutes, okay? So I'm going to be using my timer. So 2 minutes, 1, 2, 3, go. And we're done. So that was 2 minutes of breathing with retention. Anyone wants to share and notice the difference with the 4-4-4 that we did and with your own stretching of the inhale or the exhale? You can write in the chat box if you want, or you can unmute yourself and let me know. Just so that we can notice the difference and that we can share some ideas regarding that. Okay, 10, 10, 10, great. Is it the first time that you've done this, Ala? Okay, great, great. Good question. Are we breathing from the chest or from the belly? Doesn't matter at this point, because now what we're focusing on is on the retention. So it doesn't matter. You can play with it, all right? You can try with the chest and then with the belly. Don't worry about counting, Rana. Yes, I'm going to talk about Ujjayi in a minute, actually, Delna. So, and I'll tell you what's the difference, yeah? My urge was to rush from the exhale to the inhale without the hold. That's interesting. Okay, so let me answer back with the idea of I lost counting. So as I said, guys, I'm going to be sharing with you an app that the app will tell you how long you need to do each one. But when you don't have that app, I don't want you to strain yourselves with the thinking of the counting, okay? That's why what you do is what I just did. You put a timer on and you just make sure that you're gonna be doing the retention breathing for the 2 minutes, 3 minutes to 5 minutes, okay? I just felt like I couldn't take more oxygen in without counting. Can you explain that a bit more? Because I don't understand what you mean. I couldn't take more oxygen in without counting. I'm not sure about that question. Yeah, so I want to specify on the idea of when people feel that I need oxygen immediately after I've exhaled. Okay, again, sorry. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay if you took a deeper breath. It doesn't matter because again, everyone will have their own rhythm of how long they're going to be breathing, how long they're going to be inhaling and how long they're going to be exhaling. There is no one fixed rule. There are so many rules. One of them was 4-4-4, and I'm going to tell you another one in a minute, but let me talk about what it meant by exhale, feeling the need to inhale after the exhale. So obviously there is being breath retention taking place. And as I said, when the CO2 is getting really triggered, your physiological self, okay, your body is trying to say, oh my God, I can't take it. Just give me more oxygen. So that is why you need to start by focusing on the holding, not to make it too long. Hence, we're going back to 4-4-4. So you can do the holding for 2 seconds even. And that is like, you saw it was just 2 seconds of holding. So you don't have that, oh my God, I'm running out of air. Okay. So even air hunger, that feeling is a practice. That's what we're actually practicing, is to be relaxed and comfortable with that span of a few seconds, few minutes, yeah, of holding the breath and not feeling like I'm running out of air. Now, again, going back to the very first thing I shared, this has to do with shallow breathing. The reason why many of us breathe very shallow, very unconscious, and breathe from the mouth. We have forgotten to breathe consciously through the nose, okay? Like, think about yourself when you're sleeping. Many people just lie back and are like that the whole time, right? So that's why it needs some practice. And start by gently holding the breath, like giving yourself 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, all right? Let me know if I've answered your questions. If I haven't, please type back again. Is the idea to hold the breath as long? Yeah, it is, as long as you can, but not to turn it into a form of like, okay? Remember, we don't want to push the exhale. It's kind of like when you are doing a physical workout, physical training, and when you are doing body weight. So let's say when you're lifting both of your legs up, and then when you want to bring it back down, many people go like, they bring it back down that way because they don't have the control, the muscle control of it. It's the same with the breathing. We are creating breathing control, okay? So one of the other famous ways of breath retention is 1-2. So 1 means if you inhaled for 5 counts, okay, if you inhaled for 5 counts, I'm going to write here in the chat box 1-2 so you understand. If you inhale for 5 counts, hold the breath as much as you can, and then the exhale is the double of the inhale. So it's 10 counts. Now this is, I would believe, more difficult because what many people tend to do, as I said, is when they inhale, like, and the exhale is, and it's gone. So the exhale has to go very gentle in order for you to reach that double. Okay? So we can think of 4 inhales, 4 intakes, so 4 inhales, and then 8 exhales, right? So it would be, see, I reached to 6. I should reach to 8 for that, okay? So I will give you 2 minutes, again, to just practice to see if you can inhale through, again, everything's nose. You can inhale, use your fingers if you need to, like try to 4 with 8 if you are a beginner, try 5 with 10 if you're a little bit advanced, and see if you can make your exhale longer than your inhale, okay? Without forcing the exhale out. and just going very, very gently. It doesn't matter if you're breathing through the belly or the chest at this point, okay? We're not focusing on the belly or the chest. The aim is to focus on the breath retention. The holding for this type of exercise is again up to you. So the whole intention of this, the 1-2 intention is in two folds. One is no holding at all. That's your choice. But now we're going to try with breath retention, which is holding. And then you can try without breath retention. So you do 4 inhales. The 8th one, okay? This is the 3rd exercise. Yes, we are in the 3rd exercise. So I want you to do 1-2, which means inhale is short, exhale is longer, with holding of the breath in between for 2 minutes. All right, everyone? So I'm just going to put the timer on again. 2 minutes again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're done. Was it easy to have a longer exhale? And a controlled longer exhale rather than getting it out of the way? Great, great, great. Good. Okay, wonderful. Good comments. Harder, but feels good. Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. Sally, you want to unmute yourself? Because you've raised your hand. Yeah, even if it's difficult, guys, don't worry about it. It just needs practice. The length of the hold is not important at this stage, no. What's important is the 1 and the 2 part, okay? And as I said, you can practice without even holding the breath. We just did the holding so that you can have 2 versions of breath retention, okay? Yay, you got rid of your migraine. So 2 more breathing exercises I want to share for today. It's going to be more related to the mind and our mental state. So one of them is a pranayama technique. Someone just mentioned it in a few moments ago. It's called Ujjayi breathing. Okay. Now, The problem with Ujjayi breathing is, as beautiful and as calming as it can be, some people get so hooked up with it that any breathing they do, it sounds like Ujjayi breathing. So I want you to be very conscious of this. Basically, again, it's inhaling and exhaling through the nose, but with a slight voice, no, how can I put it? So with a slight sound from the throat area, okay? So you're as if stressing the throat muscles here. So it's something like this. Actually, I was going to say dragon breathing, Katie. Because I feel after I do this, I can be like a dragon. Yeah. So yes, this is super calming, super relaxing. But please don't do it all the time. You will really, I don't want to say damage, because I mean, everything is a mental state, but you would end up really stressing out your vocal cords, stressing out your muscles in the throat area. If you're completely new to this, this is what you can start off by doing. So you inhale through the nose, making the sound. And exhaling through the mouth. So you can make that ah sound movement. Okay? And once you've done that, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, just so that you can get used of that ah sound, then you can switch to inhaling and exhaling through the nose with that sound. Okay? Again, very important not to stress, not to be very tight in this technique. Make sure you're super relaxed. Always, if you feel, to remind yourself, just bring your shoulders down, physically bring it down, stretch your neck, okay? And try to put the sound in. It doesn't have to be loud. You're not on a speaker. Nobody, your neighbors don't need to hear you that you're doing breath work. So it's just a very silent breath, okay? So and it's really, really nice. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this breathing because it's really nice and calming and relaxing. All right? So just let me put the timer on, and I'm going to breathe with you as well, but I'm going to unmute myself so you don't hear me. Mute myself, sorry. No counts, no counts, no counts. Just enjoy and go as long as you want. No retention, guys. There's no retention for this. No breath holding. It's just inhaling and exhaling. All right? 3 minutes. 1, 2, 3. Go. Okay, we're done. That was great. How was it, guys? Any questions, comments? Yeah, good. Yay, someone used that button. Brilliant. No, I didn't say it's not too good to do it often. I said if you mix this up with other breathing techniques. So people get used to doing every breathing technique by making that sound. So you are causing some tension to your throat area and you don't need to do that. So everything in moderation, right? Yeah, you do make an actual sound. It's like a sound. Is it normal to have a headache? Again, because there has been an imbalance of the oxygen and the CO2 after this. So it's purging. So just give yourself some time and it will relax itself out. It does sound like an ocean. Yeah, me too. I went into a trance-like state. All right, final breathing exercise technique for you to do, which is a hissing sound. Yeah, it can be if your hissing sound is like a kind of sound. Yeah, it can be. But as long as inhale, exhale through the nose with the mouth, the throat, you would feel it vibrating. So the final technique, which I want to talk about, is conscious connected breath work. Obviously, from the name, you're conscious, connected. That means there's no retention, allowing the inhale and exhale to create a link, to create a flow. And by doing this more often, you're not only helping your lungs, your respiratory system, but you're actually clearing your energy body, and you're also helping yourself to cleanse mental patterns. So if you notice, everything that we've talked about right now, I didn't necessarily talk about the mental state. I didn't talk about belief systems. Yes, you can feel relaxed, you can feel calm, but what I've noticed with many people, what they tell me is, Maria, I've been doing a lot of meditation, I've been doing a lot of breathing exercises, but my mind is still worried, I'm still anxious, I'm still filled with fear. Well, it doesn't mean that what they've done is wrong. It doesn't mean that what they've done is not the right technique for themselves, but it's basically they still need to help themselves to clear the belief systems that is stuck there. So when a belief system has been repeated for years and years and years, you don't have to be aware of what it is. Most of the time you're unaware that you have created those unconscious negative mindset, then you do need to have a stronger breathing technique combined with energy, because the conscious connected breath work creates an energetic circulation of the body. So just to give you a quick background, we all have an energy field around us, which many people call it the aura. It is also expanded, congested, and depleted based on the energy centers that we have, which many people call chakras. We have more than 7 chakras. We have, these are the major ones, you have minor ones, and you have mini ones, right? So they're all spinning anti-clockwise and clockwise. It's kind of like an inhaling and an exhaling process. Now, the reason why they get blocked is because there is a certain belief system. There is a mental blockage that is directing it to the energy. Everything starts with a thought first, and then it creates the energy for it. So by doing conscious connected breathwork practice, doing the 20 connected breathing, which I'm going to teach you right now, is a mini experience of what a full session can look like in order to circulate the energy and to help pump out of your subconscious mind. I'm trying to make it sound very left brain to pump it out of your system So when you're done with it, that mental state no longer exists, not only for an hour, not only for 2 hours, not only for 3 hours, but literally getting it out of your system. Obviously, some are more harder to get out than others because it depends on the resistance level of the mind. So the 20 connected breathing is 4 fast breaths, 5th one is long, all happening through the nose. So and we're doing it 4 times, which equals to 20. 5 fingers, 4 times equals 20. So it's like this. Okay, it feels very fast. It feels as if I'm forcing, but it really isn't because it's just a form of practice that you end up creating a relationship with conscious connected breath work. Okay, so are you ready to practice with me? Nose breathing. I'm having my fingers there for you. I'm going to count it for you. So 4 fast, 5th one long, 4 times. Okay, no pause, nothing in between. I am literally exhaling it out super fast. That's the connection of it, Allah. Okay, as you notice, the exhale is not dominant. It's the inhale that's dominant. So let's try. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I lost count. I lost if it was 20. Let's do it one more time because my nose is making like a flute sound. All right, let's start again. 1, the exhale naturally happens, guys. Your focus should be on the inhale. Okay, 1, 2, 3. That was 20 connected. I'm going to do it one more time in order for us to accelerate the process, okay? Lightheadedness, feeling dizzy, supernatural, very, very normal. Just continue with the breathing process, okay? 1, 2, 3. Relax. Doesn't matter belly or chest for this one as well. Don't worry. I'm going to do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. And relax. Whew. So, as you noticed, this is highly focused on the inhale, very fast compared to the other breathings that we're doing. We're not focusing on the belly nor the chest. We just want to keep it connected. So imagine that you're creating a wheel from this. This is the mini version of rebirthing breathwork, or I'm just typing it for you, or what we call again is conscious connected breathwork. What you just did is called 20 connected breathing through the nose. Okay, now what does a full session look like? You're not doing the count. You're lying down for about 30 to 40 minutes and you are non-stop inhaling and exhaling. But if it's your first time, then obviously there is a lot of mental focus on it. You need to have a facilitator guiding you so that you don't stop the inhale nor the exhale. and you don't create or react to the physical sensation that you're happening. The reason why we're doing this, Sally, is because we're releasing mental blockages and we're releasing belief systems that are stuck in our subconscious mind. So if a belief system is stuck in your subconscious mind, it can easily also mean that it's stuck in one of your chakras. It can be stuck in your cellular memory. It can be stuck in your organ. So many people notice physical changes after this. They have a mental shift after a full session, especially with things that they feel stuck, like a certain mindset that, why do I always have this feeling? I always feel this way, or I don't know what my purpose is, or I feel anxious. Any of these are the reasons that rebirthing breathwork helps. In the Akashic Records, when I'm doing an Akashic Records life scripting technique, the breathwork is shorter. So the difference is I'm taking you to a different energetic field, which is the Akashic Records. I don't want to go too much into it because it's not about that in this session. But if you know what the Akashic Records is, I'm taking your consciousness to the Akashic Records. And when you're in the Akashic Records, we are doing conscious connected breathwork. So you're having a double added value. You are doing the energetic circulation. And when you're connected to the Akashic Records, you're more deeply connected to your soul, to your higher self. So the process will be much faster. That is why when I'm doing a live scripting session with someone, I don't necessarily need a 30, 40, or a 1 hour breathing session. In 20 minutes, the process is done, because the energy field around them is supporting them to help them release the mental blockages that we have. Okay, but if I'm not doing it through the Akashic Records and I'm purely doing a conscious connected breath work, I am not necessarily taking you to any energy field. I'm just making you feel relaxed at the beginning with a little bit of a guidance through my voice, and then I'm silent throughout the whole time, allowing you to breathe through it. Now, when you start to do more conscious connected breath work, your body's vibration starts to go higher and higher. If your vibration is higher, it's very difficult for you to have a disease, because diseases are lower vibrational frequencies. Now, again, medically, they still want to prove that. So we're talking about metaphysics and we're talking about esoteric understanding, okay? So if your vibration is high, your consciousness and your mental state is on a different level. It's not on a lower frequency of what disease consciousness is, of what anxiety and fear consciousness are. So when you are vibrating on that level and that vibration stays with you for a couple of days until you've had another session, and then after a while, what you're doing is, by daily practicing 20 connected breathing, you're letting yourself to be in that high vibrational frequency after you've done, let's say, a few conscious connected breathing practices in a full professional session. Generally, with a full breathwork session, a rebirthing session, I advise people to do it either once a week, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, depends on how they integrate after the session. If they have less resistance by allowing themselves to empty their cup, emptying their cup means releasing limiting beliefs, then the process can be faster and we can do it once a session. Now, the full 20 connected breathing technique, you can do it 5 times a day, more than enough. You don't need to do it more than that. We already did 3 for today, 3 or 4. You don't need to do more of that today, okay? Because you are circulating the energy. And when you're circulating the energy, if there are, imagine yourself in a bubble, and there are certain things in your bubble which are negative thought forms, they're floating around, and they are being magnified to be thrown out. You don't want to trigger them so much when you are by yourself, unless you have a facilitator with you, which is why I recommend for you to have a full breathwork session with a facilitator. You can do all of these breathworks every day. Every day you can do them. That's why I gave you different techniques, and they are not connected to one another. Each one has their own respective value. and you can have all of them, which is a nice bundle, and you can have the best of all the worlds, right? Okay, any last questions? We're almost out of time. I'm going to be sharing the link with you for the apps that I have. So just if you could give me 1 second. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. I have 2 of my favorite apps on. Go ahead, have a look at them. They're free. And you can start practicing already some of the breathings that we've done here. They're already on those apps, okay? The retention work and long exhale work. How often do you recommend to practice this per day? Simple answer is moderation. Longer answer is, I would say, give yourself a daily 10-minute breathwork practice. So cut it all up. Okay, so everything that we've learned, cut them up. So 2 minutes of this, 2 minutes of that, 2 minutes of this, 2 minutes of that. You already have a 10-minute of a breathing practice daily. So if you can put in a 10 breathing practice on a daily basis, that's wonderful already. Okay, thank you so much. How long should the others like the 1-2 practice for? Again, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, see how long you can do that for. I would recommend not to overload yourself with the techniques. Practice them and see what you're feeling with them. And based on that, move around with it. Okay, so I believe that this video is now going to be on Facebook on the Illuminations page. So you can go ahead and check it out again to see what is for which, if you haven't taken notes. And this can help you to realize that, okay, I need to do more ujjayi because my mind is so filled with anxiety. I'm watching the news a lot, so I really need to do more ujjayi breathing, okay? Yes, okay, thank you for reminding me. Thursday, I have my group rebirthing breathwork workshop. My rebirthing group workshop is 2 hours. The first hour, we always do psychological work, self-reflection work, and every month I have a theme for it. This month is going to be about the creative mind and rejuvenation. We're going to talk about that. You will be doing some self-exploration throughout it, which is when I ask you questions and you can write down your answers. You don't have to share them with anyone. And then that's when we do the breathwork practice like we're doing online. If you have not done a rebirthing breathwork, conscious connected breathing breathwork with me before, one-to-one, I do not advise you to be on the group session yet, because you need my full attention. You need to experience it by yourself first as a one-to-one to know how your mindset reacts, how your body reacts. So I can give you my full undivided attention. Once you've done a one-to-one session with me, you're more than welcome to join the group sessions. Whoever does the group sessions, they've been doing, they have started with one-to-one with me, and they have now been registering for the group sessions. So they know the drill, they feel fully safe, especially now that we're doing everything online. Some people feel, they believe or they feel that a virtual session might not be as effective as a one-to-one. I would like to correct that for you. It doesn't matter. It's just how much you trust the facilitator and how safe you personally feel. Okay, because energy is energy. It doesn't matter if we are physically in front of each other or if we're virtually talking to one another. At the end of the day, I'm observing everyone while they're doing their breath work. When I'm giving my online sessions, I always ask people to have their camera on, to have their mics on, and I would like to see them from their chest above, on the side, the camera on the side, so I can guide them through and see what's happening with the movement of the energy. And since I also do intuitive work, so thankfully that helps me to see what's going on with you as well. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. Love you all so much. Stay safe, turn off the TV. Don't watch too much news, and also turn off your social media every now and then to give your mind a bit of a break. All right, lots of love. Take care. Bye.